Okay guys, so today I'm going to give you a overview on how to replace the lumbar support on a ST3 Ford Focus. Mine is 2015, and I found a couple of tidbits online. One that probably comes as close to ours is the Fiesta ST, being that they're Recaros, although the plugs and of course the mounting is a little bit different, but pretty straightforward. I already removed the Recaro seat. Got the bolts already here, so you want to make sure, just to reiterate based on what I have read, once you go ahead and move the seat forward to at least loosen up or remove the bolts, and move the seat backward, being that seat is a powered seat, since you are going to be disconnecting the battery for airbag purposes. So we go ahead and, after you move the seat back, just to access the two bolts, and you want to make sure that this one's on the side, all right, closer to the B pillar. All right, this is not going to be parallel to that rear bolt over there. So went ahead and already removed the seat. It's really not as complicated as it looks. Wires. Oh, by the way, after you remove the seat, well, you can unbolt the seat. Don't remove it yet until you disconnect the battery, because you want to make sure battery's disconnected. I waited about 15 minutes to make sure that any remaining charge in the car would dissipate. And this is the airbag wiring harness, which is kind of a big kahuna there. And here is the female. All right, this is the one that's attached to the seat. So not that complicated. This right here has a hook. Over here, this turns. Well, can't turn it right now because of course I don't have the other one plugged in, but once you plug it, once it's plugged, this little tensioner right here, press it down. I had to use like a little flathead screwdriver because it was kind of hard. I just press it down, and then you're able to move this, which is basically comes from front to the back, like that. It's kind of like a little lever, if you may. All right, so removed it. Didn't have to remove plastic coverings for the side. I did just kind of loosen it up, remove the torque screws that were there. I'm gonna turn this over. You guys can get a better look. So, basically doing this by myself. I don't think two people, unless you want to speed it up. Yeah, you can use two people, but it's pretty. It's just a little tedious. It's not that difficult. So you kind of undress the cover. These has a heavy-duty Velcro which sits right here on the seam. These little little orange plastic hooks, if you may, they basically hold this lining right here. It's kind of plastic lining, which is the seam of the partitions of the Recaro seat. So I just basically just pulled it. Just pull it, but don't give it a hard pull. Just kind of pull it gently, because you don't want to remove these. These look like they're just stuck there with some heavy duty glue to the foam. And of course, this little apparatus here is your heating component for heated seats. All right, so I pulled it out. Of course, right here, pushing it back in is probably going to be a little bit challenging, but not too much. Got these little plastic hooks, which kind of brings it down under, so it could hook on the back side of the frame, which is right here. All right, and this is just wiring that we're gonna work on. I already removed this, but I just left it there just so you guys could see. I'm gonna turn the seat over. All right, so I'll show you the new one. This is the new one. Let me just take it. Well, I'll show you the old one. I'm not gonna take the hooks off yet. So this is the old one. So apparently, these tend to over time snap. My car just hit 50,000 miles, and irony, this broke about at 49,000 and change. So apparently, this little plastic tubing, if you may, because that's what it looks like. It looks like just like a hard plastic straw, to be honest with you. That's what snapped off, and my lumbar decided to not work anymore. I believe the motor's still good, so I'm just probably gonna salvage just in case. Just so you guys can take a look at it. This is what the motor looks like. All right, made in Canada apparatus. All right. So on the inside of the frame, you got these little holes right here. This hooks to the top part of the seat. No, shoot. Crap. Anyway, all right. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but let me see if I can get my flashlight. Sorry guys, this is not a professional video. This is a kind of do it as you go. I said, you know what the hell? There's nobody else who's done one for the Recaro ST3 Ford Focus, so I just jumped in and decided to put this out. But anyway, I'll try to see if I can get in there. There you go. There's going to be one hook, which is to the top part of the seat, and then you got the same thing on the other side, if I can locate it. There you go. All right, so then you're going to have the middle section hooks, which will hook right in here. That'll hold. Same thing on the other side. And then you're going to notice at the bottom part right here, these that look like they need to be hooked onto something is actually not. I guess that's just the end of the design or whatever. I guess they just figured out, what the heck, let's just cut off this little cable. So it doesn't really tie into anything. And I double checked, triple checked, just in case. I got underneath, didn't see anything because the old one wasn't hooked onto anything. So you also have this one right here on this side. You have this hook will hook to this part right here, which I didn't take out, but it also did snap. Matter of fact, I'll just do it now. Okay, so this piece right here, that's what broke off over here. This part is supposed to be hooked on. As you can tell, it broke off. That's the original, that's the replacement piece. You see the old one, that's where it broke. So not only did this break, that broke. So lumbar for sure was not going to work at all. So you got that hook on that side, all right, which is going to be, you're going to have to kind of like just find the hole in the rail, which is right here. Can't see it, but you just got to feel it. And the same thing for this side, the right side. Just find it and just put your finger in there, just, there you go, holes in there. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna hook this up, and then I'm gonna show you guys what I did to finalize the connections and all that stuff. See you in a bit. All right, guys, so I went ahead and put in the apparatus here. So I want to let you guys know, you want to make sure that when you put in the hooks, all right, that they're all the way in. I had to wiggle it around a little bit just to make sure that it was flush. Same thing on that side. You can probably see where it was marked that it wasn't going in all the way, so you want to make sure it's completely in there. Alright, and there goes a hook for the midsection. See that? And then this is the lower section right here. Now here, you want to make sure, try to get in there. You want to make sure, this is going to play a little bit because, of course, the cable for the lumbar is not on. So you got a little wiggle room here, but you want to make sure that this sits flush like that, laying down, okay? And I'm thinking that once start using the lumbar, it would actually position itself, but you can see you want it to look like that. All right, it has to sit alongside with the rail. All right, so did that, plugged in harness to the motor of the lumbar support. This was unplugged before. I was just playing it safe. I wasn't too sure if it was going somewhere. But anyway, so you don't have to remove this plug, which sits right on the base, lower part of the seat. Now you're probably looking at it weird. Seat's facing this way. I have it upside down. Okay, so just so you guys know for positioning orientation. All right, so I could just do this. And now you're looking at the back side of the seat, and that's the bottom part. All right, so interesting thing. I don't know if that's the way they mounted it or the way they assembled it. I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, here's another thing I wanted to mention to you guys. So this right here, in order for you to access the top part to get into these cable hooks, you got this I don't know if I'm calling it a flap or something. It just kind of, it presses into the, it inserts right here, presses in. So that's just so there's not a lot of play room with your upholstery, and just hooks right in there. All right, just give it a tug just to make sure that I'm just pretty anal about it. Make sure that it's snug in there, that nothing's moving. All right, I'm gonna start putting these things back. Oh, and by the way, here, same situation. So this goes here and actually slides underneath and kind of hooks in there. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, I'm gonna work with that, and I'll be back with the rest of the other stuff, just to finish off. All right, guys, so back. Sorry, I'm a little exhausted. Anyway, put the upholstery back, rolled it in, tucked in the other part that comes in and around, and I'll show you guys in a minute. I gotta tell you guys, you gotta lay this seat down on its back, and the seams that I was telling you here that has kind of like this plastic thick lining on the inside to snap into the orange tabs that I showed you earlier. I tried to put the force with my fingers, couldn't do it. I had to use my elbows. So get some elbow weight in there, and make sure when you're doing it, this is tedious, make sure you align it in the little indentation or the crevice of the foam. That's where those orange tabs are at, so it can line up and it's able to snap in. You'll hear a dull snap, it won't be a hard snap. I did it a couple of times. I was pretty particular about it, so I had to go in, stick my hand in there, just kind of make sure that the plastic did catch on to those little orange tabs. Anyway, and so we're back to this. I got that, and I'm gonna flip it over, you know, so you could see what we're done here. All right, so this is the extra. This is the bottom part of the upholstery. Comes in between the backrest and the lower part of the seat. Pull it in here, pull it, get as much pull as you can so there's not enough slack or flex in the leather. So you want to make sure that's nice and snug. Pull it and then just snap it over the metal part frame here that you see. So already did that. Now the other thing I was going to show you is that I noticed that the way this bottom part of the back of the seat, basically the way this gets on is that it actually goes, the harness goes through the loop, okay, and then you'll connect it. But before you connect it, you want to make sure that you hook, sorry, that's what happens when you're doing this one-handed. But you want to make sure that this elastic goes over that little tab right there, and to hold it in place. And then you just take it and, sorry, again, hold it in place over the elastic, take the harness through the elastic loop, and then loop your elastic right around this little hook, and then just connect it. You're gonna do the same thing on this side, okay? So I want to make sure that, go ahead, you just loop it, harness, and go ahead and put your elastic right through this little hook, plastic hook. That's it, and then just connect your harness. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and put this bad boy back, and fingers crossed I'm gonna have this working.